This is turning the tables. A cold glint appeared in Fan Shanmeng's eyes. Her gaze flashed, and she suddenly raised her right hand, pointing at the protective barrier outside the ship. As she did, the layers of light screen dimmed instantly. In that split second, Fan Shanmeng's body swayed, and she immediately sank from the first deck, entering the second layer. As she entered, colorful light exploded in all directions, completely enveloping the entire Soul Demon vessel. The Rainbow Daoist took a step forward and landed on the deck. The moment the Rainbow Daoist's foot landed, Wang Lin, who was meditating in the third layer of the deck, suddenly looked up toward the upper level. His expression was calm, though a flash of sharp light passed through his eyes. She really did it, Wang Lin sneered. Once he broke apart Fan Shanmeng's calculations, the hidden threat became useless, and naturally, she chose to pressure him with the power of the 7 colors. At that moment, the first deck of the Soul Demon vessel, where the Rainbow Daoist stood, was already under Wang Lin's control. This meant he would have to face the opponent indirectly. He needed to split his focus to control the restrictions on the first layer and prevent the 7 colors from entering. Playing with fire, huh? I can do that too. Wang Lin's gaze flashed. With a quick hand gesture, he waved forward, and the first deck of the Soul Demon vessel immediately erupted with a loud boom. All the restrictions on the first layer stopped operating and fell completely silent. In that brief moment of calm on the first deck, a loud bang echoed as the 7 colors pierced through the first layer and entered the second. The Rainbow Daoist, laughing heartily, effortlessly entered the second layer. Meanwhile, Fan Shanmeng had already stepped into the third layer. As soon as she entered, her expression changed drastically. She immediately sensed Wang Lin's actions. Her body flickered, and in an instant, she appeared next to Wang Lin, who was also in the third layer. What are you doing? Are you seeking death? The first soul of the 7 colors. Even if we joined forces, we couldn't defeat it. And you let it enter the first layer? If you keep making noise, I'll open the second layer and let it descend completely. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly as he spoke calmly. You. Fan Shanmeng stared at Wang Lin, her eyes filled with murderous intent. Since you can open the ship's external barrier and ease its efforts, why can't I let the first deck open and allow it to enter the second layer? I have no deep enmity with it. If it wants the Li Guang Bao, I'll give it to him. But you're different. So if you want to be safe, keep quiet. Wang Lin's voice boomed, reaching Fan Shanmeng's ears and immediately turning her face pale. Not only should you be silent, but you should also stop any other little tricks. If you persist, don't blame me for opening the second layer and letting the Rainbow Daoist come down. Wang Lin's cold gaze fixed on her. His stare sent a chill through Fan Shanmeng's heart. As she looked at him, she suddenly realized how terrifying he truly was, with such deep schemes. Step by step, he's taking away my initiative, and now he holds the upper hand. I'm being suppressed by his actions. This person, his mind is too deep. Fan Shanmeng fell silent, deeply wary of Wang Lin, someone she had previously not taken seriously, a cultivator of the cave abode realm. At such a young age, with such schemes, if he were in the immortal firmament continent, he would undoubtedly be a renowned figure. Wang Lin stared at Fan Shanmeng for a while before withdrawing his gaze. At this moment, the second deck above rumbled with sound. The entire deck trembled as countless restriction lights flickered, clashing with the 7 colors. But it looked as though it couldn't hold out for long before collapsing. If you don't want to die, you need to give your all to buy me more time to break through the third layer. I know you have one last card to ensure your safety. But right now, on the control of the Soul Demon vessel, you and I are equals. If I don't cooperate, don't expect to leave. Wang Lin spoke slowly, then fell silent. He closed his eyes, and the Dao ancient phantom reappeared, immersing himself once again in the study of the third layer's restrictions. Fan Shanmeng's expression turned extremely grim. She stared at Wang Lin for a long time before slowly lowering her head. Wang Lin's words had struck at her heart, and she knew they were not wrong. She still had one final means, and it was precisely because of this card that she had been so composed earlier, using the power of the 7 colors to pressure Wang Lin. But she never expected that Wang Lin would gain control over 2 layers of the Soul Demon vessel's restrictions in such a short time, taking half of the control away from her. Now, if she wanted to use her final hand, She would indeed need Wang Lin's cooperation. What's your plan? Even if I delay, I won't be able to buy enough time for you to break through the remaining restrictions. You might as well give up control. If you do, we can still leave. But if you keep being stubborn, we really will die here. Fan Shanmeng gritted her teeth and spoke. As soon as she finished speaking, a deafening roar erupted. The second deck above immediately collapsed on a large scale, and within it, the restrictions were shattered by 30%. I need 3 hours. Wang Lin opened his eyes and glanced at Fan Shanmeng. You. Fan Shanmeng laughed in anger. After a moment, she suddenly turned around, formed a hand seal, and pointed upward. Instantly, colorful light erupted from the second deck. Wang Lin calmed his mind. He would not have treated the Fan Shanmeng sisters like this, but they had plotted against him first. Wang Lin's cultivation philosophy had always been, if others don't harm me, I won't harm them. Now that he had the upper hand, he naturally wouldn't let go so easily. Moreover, the restrictions on this soul demon vessel were incredibly useful to him. With the breakthrough of 2 layers, his 4 major restrictions were almost perfected, and he was on the verge of fusing them to create the origin. The restrictions on the 3rd layer were mostly unfamiliar to Wang Lin. As he studied them, his expertise in restrictions grew at an astonishing rate. Time passed gradually. After the 2nd hour, the second deck continued to rumble. With a series of cracking sounds, numerous fissures appeared and spread rapidly. With a final deafening crash, the second deck completely collapsed. Fan Shanmeng staggered back, spitting a mouthful of blood, and took several steps back. At the same time, colorful light surged from the collapsing second deck. At that moment, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. He formed a hand seal and swiftly waved upwards. The restrictions on the 3rd deck roared to life, forming a massive net that shot upwards. Immediately after, Wang Lin's body dropped rapidly, descending from the 3rd deck to the 4th deck. At the same time, Fan Shanmeng also stepped forward. The 4th deck of the soul demon vessel was filled with dense mist, obstructing divine sense and vision. He broke through the 2nd layer. Even if I try to stop him, 2 hours is the limit. Even if you break the 3rd layer, he will likely break through it in just 1 hour. Fan Shanmeng's voice was tinged with urgency as she looked at Wang Lin on the 4th deck. Wang Lin also turned to look at Fan Shanmeng. After a long pause, he suddenly smiled. At this point, are you still trying to deceive me? Deceive you? Fan Shanmeng's eyes revealed sorrow. She glanced upward at the 3rd deck, where constant rumbling and dense cracks were appearing. You are not Fan Shanmeng. Wang Lin sighed lightly, unfazed by the large-scale fissures forming on the 3rd deck above. He looked at her and spoke slowly. What do you mean? The woman's expression suddenly turned calm as she fixed her gaze on Wang Lin. You are Fan Shanlu. From the moment I stepped onto this soul demon vessel, you've been plotting against me. If I had handed over my oath blood, maybe nothing more would have happened. But you worried I wouldn't comply, so you used some method to change your aura and appearance when you spat blood earlier, making me believe you were Fan Shanmeng. Because of this misunderstanding, you later revealed secrets about the cave abode realm to gain my trust. After that, when I broke through the layers of restrictions, your reactions might have been partly genuine, but they were also partly false. I hadn't figured it out before, but now I understand. Wang Lin looked at the woman calmly as he spoke. Above them, the 3rd deck continued to rumble violently. Cracks spread further, and colorful light began to shimmer through, indicating it was on the verge of collapse. Are you crazy? I don't understand anything you're saying. The woman furrowed her brows. Don't understand? Everything here is fake. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th decks are all illusions. You're fake. The colorful light may be real, but the person on this ship is fake. This is clearly an illusion realm. A truly realistic illusion realm. In my life, I, Wang Lin, have encountered similar spells before, but never one as real as this. It's terrifyingly real. The woman stood stunned for a moment, then bitterly smiled, stepping back a few paces. Her eyes were filled with disbelief as she looked at Wang Lin, speaking with a sense of helplessness. Fake. Wang Lin, have you really gone mad? If you don't want to exchange oath blood with me, that's fine. But how can you say everything here is fake? Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly. He raised his right hand and struck out directly at the 3rd deck, which was on the verge of collapse. With that strike, the third deck suddenly shattered, and colorful light surged forth from the collapse, enveloping the entire fourth deck. At that moment, the figure of the rainbow Daoist stepped forward. A massive phantom appeared behind her, resembling a vibrant seven-colored flower. Its eerie bloom exuded a captivating fragrance. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged as he stood motionless, staring at the seven-colored Daoist who walked from the third level. The Daoist's face was cold and indifferent. After appearing, he did not speak a word. As he raised his right hand, the deck of the fourth level rumbled and shook. In his hand, a blazing sun appeared, shining brightly. The sun was small, only the size of his palm, but the light it emitted and the heat wave it radiated felt as though he was holding the actual sun in his hand. With a sweep of his hand, the sun shot forward, roaring directly at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's hair instantly ignited. The high temperature spread throughout his body, and waves of excruciating pain tore through him, causing his expression to twist in agony, as if his entire body would be melted by the approaching sun. But his eyes remained completely calm, without the slightest change, as he allowed the sun to roar toward him. From a distance, the woman watched in disbelief and shock as she saw the sun engulf Wang Lin. How is this possible? He's gone mad. He really has gone mad. But in the next moment, her eyes suddenly widened in shock. She stared ahead, almost screaming. To her astonishment, Wang Lin, who should have perished in that blazing sun, stepped out from the overwhelming light, walking calmly. His hair had not burned, his clothes were undamaged, and his expression showed no weariness, only calmness, calmness, calmness. This is all an illusion. Wang Lin closed his eyes, raised his right hand, and waved forward. The seven-colored light dissipated, the blazing sun vanished, the seven-colored Daoist disappeared, and the entire fourth deck faded away. The third and second levels vanished too. Finally, the woman disappeared, her face full of disbelief and confusion. Her figure faded into the surroundings. Wang Lin opened his eyes. In that moment, what he saw was the canvas sail on the first deck of the Soul Demon vessel, fluttering on the mast. The eerie ghost face on it was grinning bizarrely. Wang Lin's body remained sitting cross-legged on the first deck. The ancient Dao phantom still enveloped his body, and nearby, the woman also sat cross-legged, her eyes wide open, revealing deep confusion. So, you didn't know either that what we just saw was an illusion. Wang Lin turned his head and looked outside the ship. The protective barrier outside the ship was intact, but there was no seven-colored light, nor was the seven-colored Daoist to be seen. Even he is an illusion. Wang Lin stood in silence, and with a wave of his hand, the ancient Dao phantom vanished. He looked around, his gaze finally resting on the canvas sail on the mast. What just happened? At this moment, the woman's confusion faded, and she stared blankly at Wang Lin. Then, she quickly turned her head to look around, and when she saw everything clearly, her expression changed drastically. Great Soul Illusion Art. This is my sister's strongest divine technique. To kill the seven-colored Daoist, she actually encompassed me in this technique as well. The woman, Fan Shanlu, stood up, staggered back a few steps, and coughed up blood. The appearance of the seven-colored Daoist was fake. Perhaps he did chase after us, but he never appeared before us. Wang Lin's eyes remained fixed on the eerie ghost face on the canvas as he spoke slowly. You two sisters are quite interesting. You thought everything was your plan, bringing me here and threatening me with both open and hidden layers, forcing me to give up the oath blood. But your sister is even more brilliant. The moment I appeared here, she turned everything into an illusion, conjuring the seven-colored Daoist to chase us, which worked in tandem with your calculations to bring us here. Then, she even concealed the truth from you. Just when I was about to study the restrictions in this place, she cast a double illusion, making it impossible for me to see through, and in that illusion within an illusion, she nearly forced me to give up my oath blood. Brilliant. In my life, I've met countless people, but only one has made me feel both mysterious and cautious. Now, I have added one more to that list, your sister. Wang Lin's expression was calm, with not a hint of emotion in his words. Fan Shanlu's face turned pale, and in silence, she carefully replayed everything that had happened. Gradually, Her expression grew darker as she confirmed that Wang Lin was telling the truth. She had indeed fallen victim to her sister's illusion. Your sister must have learned such an illusion technique at the Great Soul Sect on the Immortal Firmament continent. This technique is known for its mastery of illusions. Illusions. Wang Lin took a deep breath. The Great Soul Sect is most famous for its illusion techniques. Not everyone can learn them. My sister has the natural talent to master this technique, and she has already reached the double illusion stage. What you described as an illusion within an illusion is exactly double illusion. If she advances further, she will reach triple illusion, and we will never escape. Fan Shanlu paused for a moment and spoke softly, her expression mixed with complexity. From what you've said before, your sister clearly died under the seven-colored immortal venerable, but was later resurrected by your master. That too was a lie. She never died at all. Most likely, her illusion fooled the seven-colored immortal venerable. Even the events that took place between this cultivation couple on the immortal firmament continent back then were not as you described. However, I am not interested in any of these. Wang Lin's voice was cold as he stepped forward, moving directly to the sail by the ship's mast. His eyes glinted with a fierce light, and with a swift motion, his right hand tore the canvas apart, completely removing it. This treasure is mine. At that very moment, within the ice-sealed mountain range on the immortal firmament continent, a woman who had been meditating within the ice suddenly opened her eyes, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Shock filled her gaze. He actually broke through my great soul illusion art. Meanwhile, within the strange space of the soul demon vessel, in another direction, a radiant flash of seven colors flickered. The rainbow Daoist sat cross-legged amidst a pile of fierce beast carcasses. His expression was ever-changing, alternating between pain and excitement, a rare and eerie sight for him. Clearly, even he had been immersed in an illusion the moment he entered. Or perhaps, he had willingly fallen into it. Otherwise, with his cultivation, although not as powerful as Fan Shanmeng, escaping this illusion would not have been difficult. But why he chose to remain in the illusion, he alone knew. The reason Fan Shanmeng on the immortal firmament continent could cast her great soul illusion art from such a distance and achieve the terrifying level of the second-layer illusion was mainly due to the power of this sail. Wang Lin clearly remembered that before he entered the illusion within the illusion, he had glanced at the ghost face sail. Everything that followed happened in an instant, and when he broke through the illusion and opened his eyes, he still saw the same ghost face sail. It seemed as though everything in the illusion had occurred in the brief moment when Wang Lin had gazed upon the ghost face. This is the magical artifact of my great soul sect, and also the main soul sail of this soul demon vessel. Fan Shanlu spoke slowly after a moment of silence. I won't interfere with your sister's matters, nor will I exchange oath blood. We have the same goal, and as long as there's no ill intent between us, cooperation is possible. But your sister's previous actions were quite interesting. Tell her, this ghost face sail is mine now, and I am also taking this soul demon vessel. This will serve as compensation for the unpleasantness before. Wang Lin flicked his right hand, immediately storing the ghost face sail into his storage space, and turned calmly to look at Fan Shanlu. Fan Shanlu opened her mouth as if to speak, but in the end, she said nothing. She simply stood there in silence, a complex expression in her eyes. You don't need to leave this ship. I can leave it in your care. When I need it, I will summon it. Also, you mentioned the ancient Dao altar in the illusion earlier. Does it exist within this soul demon vessel? Wang Lin's eyes flashed with cold light as he spoke. Fan Shanlu remained silent for a long time before shaking her head. She raised her delicate hand and waved it forward. A jade slip flew toward Wang Lin, which he caught and examined. Inside was a map. This place is filled with countless fierce beasts. Its formation is linked to the cave mansion war of years ago. It was torn apart and connected to a strange world. If you follow the map, you will find the ancient Dao altar there. The jade slip also contains a divine art. This is the technique I mentioned earlier in the illusion realm, the spell that can devour the third soul. You may consider cultivating it. Fan Shanlu's voice was soft as she looked up at the distant stars, her eyes betraying a hint of longing. Wang Lin pondered for a moment, cupping his fists toward Fan Shanlu. As he turned to leave the soul demon vessel, her voice floated to him from behind. My sister has abandoned everything for revenge, even using me. As for our cooperation, I will help you with everything I can. I have only one request. When you open this cave mansion to head to the immortal firmament continent, take me with you. I want to go home. The opening of this cave mansion is extremely difficult. Only the third soul can open it, for only it holds the memory and knows the path of the heavens. Only by summoning the path of the heavens and following its guidance can you enter the immortal venerable mansion of the Seven Paths sect. The immortal venerable mansion is the place of the ancient battle. Though it is in ruins, there is a door inside that leads to the immortal firmament continent. If this door is opened, it will unlock the sealed cave mansion. Wang Lin paused for a moment, considering her words. After a long silence, he turned to glance at Fan Shanlu, whose figure seemed desolate, and nodded. I promise you. Wang Lin rarely made promises, but this was the first one he made after reaching the third step in his cultivation. It wasn't for trust or any other reason. It was simply for the 4 words that the woman had said. I want to go home. Fan Shanlu bit her lip as she watched Wang Lin. Upon hearing his words, she nodded gently, biting her tongue until blood spilled from her mouth. The blood glowed red before turning golden and rushed toward Wang Lin. This is my oath blood. Wang Lin caught the faint golden blood and absorbed it into his body before turning around, never looking back, and walked toward the pitch-black starry sky. The restriction of the soul demon vessel no longer required Wang Lin's study. The terrifying power of the dual illusion was already indistinguishable from reality. Within the illusion, Wang Lin's insights and research remained even after stepping out. Just like how Fan Shanlu was injured within the illusion, with the injuries still present after breaking the illusion, the magic of the Great Soul Sect was indeed bizarre and unfathomable. The Ghost Face Sail is the main sail of the Soul Demon Vessel. It's not as simple as just the Ghost Face. It contains numerous restrictions. These restrictions encompass the entire Soul Demon Vessel. If I can refine this sail, not only will I gain control over more restrictions, but I'll also directly control the Soul Demon Vessel with this sail. Wang Lin walked through the starry sky, his eyes thoughtful. His divine sense fused into the storage space, gradually refining the Ghost Face sail. During the refining process, he began to understand how to control it. Though his understanding was still limited, over time, he would eventually master it completely. After a moment, Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and he no longer thought about the Ghost Face sail. Instead, he raised his right hand and touched his forehead. The son of Yi Mo died by my hand. I absorbed 8 drops of Dao ancient blood, which were transformed from his primordial spirit. If I can fully refine them, my Dao ancient body will become even stronger. Now, I must visit the altar. There may be opportunities there. Though my cultivation is ethereal, it is still inferior compared to the void profound experts. Furthermore, with the ancient immortal domain now opened, the 4 great generals have emerged. Their goal is to find the third soul. This will save me the trouble of calculating things. This is the perfect time for me to increase my cultivation. Wang Lin muttered, his speed picking up. His divine sense expanded, cautiously scanning his surroundings. The starry sky was pitch black, and the air was occasionally filled with the scent of fierce beasts. These beasts posed no threat to Wang Lin. With a sweep of his divine sense, they would tremble and retreat. In this unfamiliar star domain, Wang Lin remained alert. Though the beasts posed no pressure on him, he could not be sure if the rainbow Daoist had truly arrived here. Therefore, even though his divine sense spread out, he remained fully concentrated. If anything unusual happened, he would immediately choose to flee. Though dangerous, he could not avoid the altar. If he were to be scared away by an uncertainty, Wang Lin would never have reached his current state or achieved his level of cultivation. After hours of walking, Wang Lin suddenly paused. His expression shifted, and without hesitation, he swiftly retreated, almost disappearing in an instant. However, just as he was about to vanish, Wang Lin gave a slight gasp, staring intently into the starry sky, his expression changing unpredictably. His divine sense had just caught sight of a figure seated among the carcasses of fierce beasts several 100,000 miles away. The figure radiated a 7-colored glow, sitting motionless. The figure's expression was sometimes complex, sometimes confused, and at times filled with sadness yet excitement. It was the Rainbow Daoist. After pondering for a moment, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. The current state of the Rainbow Daoist was strange, but after experiencing the earlier illusions, Wang Lin quickly deduced that the Rainbow Daoist was likely also trapped in an illusion, unable to break free. This illusion is likely the work of Shanmeng. Despite the Rainbow Daoist cultivation, he too has been enveloped in the illusion. This is not right. Wang Lin's mind was sharp. After a brief thought, he immediately identified the issue. After a moment of silence, Wang Lin's heart began to pound. He felt an unusual hesitation. On one hand, he could leave immediately, as the Rainbow Daoist, in his current state, would clearly not pursue him. In that case, Wang Lin's trip to the altar would be safe. On the other hand, Wang Lin saw this as an opportunity. If he could enter the Rainbow Daoist illusion, he might uncover some real secrets. Moreover, Wang Lin always felt that the reason the Rainbow Daoist was trapped in this illusion was not solely due to Shanmeng's power. There might be other mysteries involved. He vaguely felt that if he passed up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, he would regret it in the future. After struggling for a while, Wang Lin's eyes glowed coldly. Fortune favors the bold. Wang Lin's figure suddenly flickered and disappeared, moving with utmost caution and care. When he reappeared, he was already thousands of meters away from the seated Rainbow Daoist. The area was surrounded by the corpses of fierce beasts. Wang Lin stood atop one of these carcasses, casting a careful glance at the body beneath him. Slowly, his eyes flashed with a new understanding. The ferocious beasts had not been dead for long, probably only a short while. Wang Lin raised his head and glanced at the distant seven colors. Raising his right hand, with a wave, a massive beast carcass, several dozen zhang in size, floated up beside him. With a flick of his hand, the carcass hurtled through the air, howling, and shot toward the seven colors, which were tens of thousands of zhang away. Wang Lin's eyes were sharp as he slightly tilted his body backward, prepared to escape at any moment. His gaze fixed on the carcass, which was rapidly approaching within 100 zhang of the seven colors. However, just as the carcass reached within 100 zhang, the seven colors Daoist's aura suddenly flickered. In that instant, the beast's carcass trembled and silently disintegrated, vanishing before Wang Lin's eyes without a trace of flesh or debris. Just as expected, Wang Lin muttered after a brief moment of silence. Cautiously, he took one step at a time forward, his pace slow, his heart pounding as he advanced. Slowly, he crossed nearly 10,000 zhang, stopping not far from the spot where the beast's carcass had vanished, outside the seven colors Daoist's 100 zhang range. After some contemplation, Wang Lin gritted his teeth and suddenly sat cross-legged, raising his right hand to his forehead. The tip of his finger seemed to sink into his soul, and as he raised his hand, a blur appeared in front of him. He thrust his right hand forward, pointing at the seven colors Daoist sitting cross-legged 100 zhang away. With my dream, enter your illusion, dream Dao art. As his fingertip landed, Wang Lin's body suddenly trembled, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. The blurriness in his eyes faded, yet he remained sitting there, unchanged. The dream Dao art didn't require direct contact, but the seven colors Daoist cultivation was far too high, and the restrictions around him blocked everything. Wang Lin couldn't enter the Daoist's illusion with his dream. Wang Lin furrowed his brows, an unwilling expression crossing his face. The pressure in the air was even stronger than heavenly might. It was so intense that no living being dared approach, a power that made the very heavens tremble and the skies fear. The reason so many beast carcasses remained around the seven colors Daoist could very well be that these beasts were slain before the Daoist entered this strange starry sky and immersed himself in illusions. Wang Lin was a bold and fearless person. At that moment, he narrowed his eyes, standing 100 zhang from the seven colors Daoist. After a brief pause, he bit the tip of his tongue, spitting out a mouthful of blood. The blood was neither too little nor too much. Exactly 99 drops, each containing the full essence of his cultivation. His eyes filled with determination, and with a flick of his sleeve, the 99 drops of blood flew out, one of them hovering at his forehead. Dao ancient indestructibility. Wang Lin muttered under his breath, and the power of Dao Ancient surged throughout his body. It concentrated entirely in the drop of blood on his forehead, which also contained a strand of his primordial spirit. The blood immediately became translucent, shining like crystal. From a distance, it looked like a crystal drop. Infused with Wang Lin's Dao Ancient power, the drop of blood emitted a glaring red light. After he blew a breath of air forward, the drop of blood shot straight ahead. The remaining 98 drops moved simultaneously, surrounding him and forming a blood-red halo. Protected by the halo, the blood dropped directly into the range of the 7 colors Daoist. As soon as the blood circle entered within 100 zhang, it instantly disintegrated, vanishing without a trace. Only the drop of Dao Ancient indestructible blood remained. However, its disappearance had allowed that drop of blood to withstand the first wave of destruction. The drop of blood roared through the air, covering several dozen zhang. In this short distance, it was destroyed thousands of times, but each time it was swiftly restored by the power of Dao Ancient indestructibility. In the blink of an eye, the drop of blood entered within 10 zhang of the 7 colors Daoist. As it did, the restoration power of Dao Ancient indestructibility was finally slower than the destruction, and the blood quickly began to dissipate. In the end, only a trace remained. Though visible to the naked eye, this trace of blood was almost impossible to detect unless one looked carefully. Within it contained a fragment of Wang Lin's primordial spirit. As the blood was continuously destroyed, waves of excruciating pain coursed through him, causing his expression to twist in agony. It all happened in the blink of an eye. That tiny trace of blood, as it was about to be fully destroyed, pierced the final 10 zhang and landed on the 7 colors Daoist's forehead. The moment it touched his brow, the blood vanished into smoke, but Wang Lin's fragment of primordial spirit, just before disintegrating, made contact with the Daoist's body. Outside, Wang Lin closed his eyes in that instant, a low chant escaping his lips. Dream Dao. As those 2 words left his mouth, Wang Lin's mind exploded with a deafening roar. The starry sky around him crumbled, and in the chaos, a burst of 7-colored light appeared, dragging his spirit down into an endless abyss. This was a 7-colored world. The sky was 7-colored, the earth was 7-colored, and even the clouds emitted 7-colored rays. On the ground, there were towering mountains, and when Wang Lin appeared, he was standing atop one of these mountains. After a brief moment of confusion, Wang Lin immediately scanned his surroundings. Is this the illusion of the 7 colors Daoist? Wang Lin cautiously spread out his divine sense in silence, then leapt into the air and flew forward. The earth flashed beneath him, but he didn't know how long he had flown. Suddenly, his body came to a halt, and he quickly looked ahead. On a mountain range ahead, a figure sat cross-legged. It was none other than the Rainbow Daoist. He sat there, eyes wide open, staring at the sky, his expression somewhat dazed. 9 fist-sized glowing orbs floated around his body. These orbs resembled flames, within which 9 firebirds could be seen. These 9 suns were the Rainbow Daoist's cultivation and magic treasure. Shanmeng. I remember now. Your name is Fan Shanmeng. The Rainbow Daoist murmured. Wang Lin observed from a distance, his expression odd. He heard the Rainbow Daoist's words, yet it seemed the Rainbow Daoist hadn't noticed him at all. After a brief pause, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. Could this be another illusion within an illusion? He muttered. After a moment, Wang Lin carefully stepped toward the Rainbow Daoist, gradually approaching the mountain where the Daoist was seated until he was 1,000 feet away. Staring at him, Wang Lin's eyes showed determination. He raised his right hand and reached forward, and instantly, the storage space flickered. The ghost face sail appeared. Although Wang Lin didn't fully understand how to use it and hadn't completely refined it yet, it had already absorbed his divine sense during his journey. Taking out the sail, Wang Lin sat cross-legged and swung his hand forward. The sail flapped in the air, and under the control of his divine sense, it enveloped his body, even wrapping his soul, then darted forward in a flash. In that instant, Wang Lin's soul left his body, breaking through the void as if it had torn through nothingness. It shot toward the Rainbow Daoist. Above the Daoist, the ghost face sail unfurled, and the ghost face slowly morphed into Wang Lin's appearance, falling into the Daoist's confused gaze. In that instant, the world before Wang Lin darkened. The rainbow Daoist's eyes became like black holes, immediately pulling him in. "I'm in." Wang Lin's mind stirred, and a thunderous sound rang out in his ears, followed by a familiar manic laugh. The darkness before him seemed to be forcibly torn open by some strange power, revealing a world where a pavilion was collapsing. It was like a sect's mountain gate, with towering pavilions and a world transforming around them. The familiar laugh came from a middle-aged man dressed in gray, with long hair. This man was handsome, his eyes gleaming with coldness, and he exuded an immense, arrogant aura that made anyone who saw him feel it deep in their hearts. At this moment, he raised his right hand, and in front of him, a massive pavilion appeared. As he was about to break it open, a low growl emanated from within. The pavilion then crumbled, releasing a radiant burst of rainbow light. From within this light, a furious figure emerged. Wang Lin's breath caught as he recognized the figure. It was none other than the true rainbow Immortal Venerable, the very statue he had in his storage space. And the middle-aged man, although Wang Lin found him somewhat unfamiliar in appearance, his laughter and voice immediately struck him with shock. It was the madman. Behind the madman, a crimson flame dragon soared, roaring loudly. Beside him was a bald, thin young man dressed in a blue cloth robe, resembling a servant. The bald young man's eyes were fierce as he fought with another. That opponent, whom Wang Lin also recognized, was none other than the Azure Dragon General, one of the 4 great generals. Looking around, Wang Lin saw that this was clearly a battlefield, chaotic with cultivators fighting each other. Among them were the remaining 3 of the 4 great generals, as well as the 8 consorts of the Immortal Venerable. Thunderous roars echoed, the earth shook violently, pavilions crumbled into shattered debris, and the sky tore open with countless cracks. Cold winds howled out from these rifts, freezing everything they touched. Wang Lin's heart raced as he observed the scene. After a brief daze, the madman and the rainbow Immortal Venerable sent out an earth-shattering roar. Under the roar, the rainbow Immortal Venerable spat blood, retreating repeatedly. His expression showed pain and madness as he let out a furious scream. "Fan Shanmeng, Fan Shanlu, why have you betrayed me? Have I not treated you well? Why? Is it because I obtained that shard that you've forgotten the 1,000 years we've spent together? Fan Shanmeng, come out here. You ambushed me on the road. I didn't kill you. Instead, I let you go. Do you know the pain I felt at that moment? Do you? Now, you bring outsiders here to kill me. You slut. And you, Lian Daofei. You are of noble birth, surrounded by countless Dao partners. Years ago, you coveted that slut. Did you think I didn't know?" The rainbow Immortal Venerable's eyes burned with madness as he bellowed. The madman, or perhaps Lian Daofei, wore a proud expression. Hearing these words, he smiled faintly, shook his head, and spoke. "It was she who seduced me, but I have no interest in someone else's cultivation partner. I came here only for the shard you acquired. Hand it over, and I will leave immediately, without involving myself in your matters." "Shard? No one here will leave today." The rainbow Immortal Venerable's eyes turned crimson as he stepped back, sweeping his large sleeves. Instantly, the sky darkened, and a massive vortex appeared above. Within it, a huge eye gradually emerged. The eye held no emotion, just cold indifference, as it gazed down upon the world below, slowly closing. The moment the eye closed, Lian Daofei's face changed drastically. "Heavenly Dao, die all of you." The rainbow Immortal Venerable waved both hands, and the heavens roared. A wave of black mist spread outward, completely blocking Wang Lin's vision. Amidst the chilling screams, an oppressive force that made Wang Lin tremble enveloped his mind. Within the black mist, Lian Daofei, severely wounded, was swallowed by the heavenly Dao. The rainbow Immortal Venerable's body shattered, pulverizing everything around him. His broken form split into 3 parts, each scattering in different directions. One part was the rainbow itself, another took the form of his realm's essence. The final part, which carried all his memories, transformed into a long rainbow that shot into the distance. At that moment, the first fragment of his soul, the rainbow, flashed and shot toward the third soul that was disappearing into the distance. Wang Lin's mind shook, and his thoughts cleared in an instant. He finally understood why the Rainbow Daoist was so willing to immerse himself in this illusion, unwilling to awaken.